A beacon of courage, introducing Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells was a fearless woman. She fought for justice. She spoke out against racism. She challenged the world to be better. Wells became a powerful voice for those who were silenced. She is an inspiration to us all. Wells was born into slavery. She rose to become a leading journalist and activist. She faced danger and discrimination, but she never backed down from a fight. Her spirit and determination continue to inspire generations. Wells's legacy is one of courage. It is one of unwavering pursuit of justice. Her story is a testament to the power of one voice. It reminds us that we can all make a difference in the fight for equality. From slavery to freedom, Wells' early life and the seeds of activism. Ida B. Wells was born in Holly Springs, Mississippi in 1862. This was during the Civil War. She was born into slavery. Her parents, James and Lizzie Wells, were enslaved. They yearned for freedom. The Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 brought a glimmer of hope. It declared that all enslaved people in Confederate states were to be freed. This changed the course of Wells' life. She was now free. But freedom did not mean equality. Reconstruction began after the Civil War. It aimed to rebuild the South and integrate Black Americans into society. However, racism and discrimination persisted. Wells witnessed this firsthand. It fueled her desire for change. Despite the challenges, Wells's parents instilled in her the importance of education. They believed it was the key to advancement. Wells excelled in school. She thirsted for knowledge. Little did she know that education would become her weapon in the fight for justice. A teacher's stand, witnessing inequality and fighting for justice. Life threw Wells a curveball at the young age of 16. She had to leave school to care for her younger siblings. Tragedy had struck her family. Yellow fever claimed the lives of her parents. Wells became a teacher. She wanted to make a difference in the lives of young people. As a teacher, Wells saw the stark realities of segregation. Black schools received fewer resources and support than white schools. This angered her. She refused to stay silent. Wells began writing about racial injustice. She used her voice to challenge the status quo. Her pen became her weapon. She wrote for Black newspapers. She exposed the inequalities that plagued her community. Wells's activism extended beyond the classroom. She challenged segregation on public transportation. This was a bold move. She understood the risks, but she refused to be treated as a second-class citizen. Her courage inspired others. It also marked the beginning of her long journey as a civil rights activist. Section 4. The train ride that ignited a movement. A turning point in Wells' life. In 1884, Wells boarded a train in Memphis, Tennessee. She was filled with hope and anticipation for her new teaching job. She was heading to a teaching job, a position she had worked hard to secure. She had a first-class ticket, a symbol of her status, and hard-earned success. Despite her first-class ticket, she was forced to sit in the designated car for Black people. A stark reminder of the racial segregation of the time. A white conductor ordered her to move to the crowded colored section. Wells refused. She knew her rights and stood her ground. The conductor tried to physically remove her, but Wells resisted with all her might. 2 other Black passengers helped her resist, showing solidarity in the face of injustice. The conductor, unable to handle the situation alone, called for assistance. White men arrived and forcibly removed Wells from the train, an act of blatant discrimination. This incident ignited a fire in Wells's soul, fueling her determination to fight against such injustices. She sued the railroad company, taking a bold stand against the discriminatory practices. She won her case in the local courts, a significant victory for her and the Black community. But the victory was short-lived, as the Tennessee Supreme Court overturned the ruling. The Tennessee Supreme Court's decision was a harsh blow, but it did not deter Wells. This experience was a turning point in Wells's life, solidifying her resolve to fight for justice. It solidified her commitment to fighting for justice, and she began to write and speak out more fervently. It showed her the power of speaking truth to power, and she used her voice to rally others. The train incident propelled Wells onto a national stage, where she became a prominent figure in the fight for civil rights. She would become a leading voice against racial injustice, inspiring generations to come. Section 5. The Power of the Pen, Wells' Exposé on Lynching and the Fight for Truth. Ida B. Wells turned her attention to a particularly horrific form of racial terror: lynching. Lynching was a brutal act of mob violence, often carried out with impunity. It was often used against Black people in the South, a region already rife with racial tension and segregation. White mobs would seize black individuals, accusing them of crimes without evidence, and murder them. Wells began investigating lynchings. She traveled extensively, often at great personal risk. She interviewed witnesses, gathering first-hand accounts. She meticulously documented the facts, ensuring every detail was accurate and verifiable. What she discovered shocked her to the core. Wells found that lynching was not about justice or law and order. It was about white supremacy, a means to instill fear and maintain racial hierarchy. It was a tool to maintain power and control over black people, ensuring they remained subjugated. She published her findings in a pamphlet titled Southern Horrors Lynch Law in All Its Phases, a groundbreaking work. This exposé sent shockwaves through the nation, challenging the status quo. Wells' work challenged the prevailing narrative about lynching, forcing people to confront uncomfortable truths. It exposed the brutality and injustice faced by black people. Her writing was powerful, unflinching, and factual. It was impossible to ignore, sparking conversations and debates across the country. Her courage in speaking out against lynching came at a great personal cost, facing threats and violence. Section 6. A voice that resonated across borders: international advocacy and collaboration. Ida B. Wells' voice resonated beyond the borders of the United States. She traveled internationally to raise awareness about lynching and racial injustice in America. She spoke at conferences and rallies. She met with world leaders. Wells' international advocacy helped expose the horrors of lynching to a global audience. Her work shamed the United States. It put pressure on the government to address racial violence. Wells collaborated with other reformers. She worked with activists like Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony. She understood the power of unity. She believed in working together to achieve social justice. Wells also became a vocal advocate for women's rights. She joined the suffrage movement. She fought for the right of women to vote. She believed that black women's voices were essential in the fight for equality. Section 7. A Legacy of Courage. A future inspired Wells' enduring impact on the fight for equality. Ida B. Wells' legacy continues to inspire generations. Her relentless pursuit of justice and equality has left an indelible mark on history. She was a fearless crusader for justice, unafraid to speak out against the injustices of her time. She used her voice to challenge racism, sexism, and violence, often at great personal risk. Her work laid the foundation for the civil rights movement, inspiring countless others to take up the cause. Wells's writings remain essential reading for understanding the history of racial injustice in America. Her words continue to resonate today. Her courage in speaking truth to power serves as a model for activists today, reminding us of the importance of standing up for what is right. In recent years, Wells has received long overdue recognition for her contributions. Her legacy is celebrated and honored. In 2020, she was posthumously awarded a Pulitzer Prize, a testament to her groundbreaking work and enduring influence. This prestigious award honored her groundbreaking reporting on lynching, highlighting the importance of her investigative journalism. Ida B. Wells's story is a testament to the power of one voice. Her determination and bravery continue to inspire. She showed the world that ordinary people can make an extraordinary difference, proving that one person can indeed change the world. Her legacy reminds us that the fight for justice is ongoing. It is a continuous struggle that demands our attention and action. It is a fight that requires courage. It requires determination. It requires each of us to play our part. It requires us to speak out against injustice wherever we see it, to be vigilant and proactive in our efforts. May her spirit continue to guide us as we strive for a more just and equitable world, inspired by her unwavering commitment to truth and justice.